Let's go on to the major leagues. I have a problem right now with the players, and I understand the players want to get paid and they want to make all their money. And you're talking about Garrett Cole, who just got a huge contract, $326 million from the New York Yankees, and the Yankees are going to pay him almost $39 million a year. And the story's coming out with the major leagues that the players want a 114 game season, which would drag the season and the playoffs all the way to December. Do you like what the league is trying to do right now and cut the games to 82 games and the players taking half their money? Or do you think the players deserve all their money and play a 114 game season and go all the way into December to finish the season?
Well, I wish that I were more educated, I guess I would say, on actually what's going on the major league level because I'm like everybody, man. I want baseball. I want to get this thing going, and I know, and I really believe that. I do believe the players want to play, and I think the owners want the game to go, and so I don't know that I have or I can comment on how many games should be played and the money because I'm not in that side.
Right.
I just know that. Um, I just really hope that we can get this thing hammered out. I think it'll be great for our country. I think it'll be great for just the morale of everybody involved. And I think I saw the last thing that they were talking about what you just said of maybe extending the season to later into October. I think is what I saw, and so hopefully we're going to get this thing hammered out. Everybody's going to be happy with something. I know it's not going to be the best, but you know what? We haven't had the best in the country in quite a while now with all this going on. So let's hopefully come to terms and let's get this thing going and do what we can and hopefully salvage something out of this where people can start feeling good about things. And sports is such a huge part of people's lives and help them, kind of get through things like this. So hopefully we're going to get all this accomplished.
LSU has had a rich program in terms of getting guys into the major leagues, one of which recently, one of the better young pitchers in the game has been Aaron Nola. What was coaching him like when he was at LSU, and have you seen the growth of him in the major leagues? Has he changed anything, you think, to you? Or does he pitch very similarly to how you had him pitch at LSU when you were coaching?
Listen, this young man, when he showed up on campus, that was a great day for us. He just the epitome of when you look at a picture and just from every aspect, his makeup, his intensity, obviously his skill set, his ability to command the strike zone. I mean, it was from day one. This young man was we know he was going to be special in terms of where his career was going to go. And now I've watched him, over his career with the Phillies, and pardon me, and how quickly, Aaron got to the big leagues. Aaron got there in less than it was right at a year, I think, from the time he left LSU camp to pitching in the rotation for the Phillies. It was just a little bit over a year, possibly, and so that just tells you his skill set. And I've watched him and from a maturity standpoint of just watching how his body has changed into a man now, and just having that ability to go out and put up 200 plus innings every year. It's just been fun to watch him. But if you watch him pitch now, that was the same man that pitched here at LSU. His ability to command the strike zone was impeccable. And you never saw this guy, regardless of the situation. You could not tell if he was up by 10 or down by 10. And, a story to kind of hammer that point home was his freshman year. We brought him along slowly. We pitched him in the midweek, and we kind of got his feet wet. And then when the conference started, he was ready to go. At his first weekend of conference play, he pitched against Mississippi State. And I want to tell you, he gave up 6 runs before I could sit down in the dugout. It was one of those days that they knew he was going to be around the zone, and they came up swinging the bat, and man, they just put some balls. We couldn't get them, and they scored 6 in the first. But now, here's what defined Aaron Nola, and I knew right then this guy was going to be a difference maker for our program. Is he came in the dugout, and he had that look on his face of like, I got this. And you look up, and in the 7th inning, he pitched us into the 7th inning, and they still had 6 on the board. Now, we lost the game, but if you look at that, what he did for our bullpen and how he was able to go out there and give us 6+ innings, he took the stress off the bullpen, and we were able to go out and win that series. And I really believe because what he did. And I've seen that demeanor from him in the big league, and I've seen him give up 4 in the big leagues in the first. You look up, he's still pitching in the 7th. And that's the difference in guys that are dudes. And so he's the best. He's the best that I think that I've ever had an opportunity to coach. And I've had fortunate to have some really good players here at LSU. I mean, Kevin Gosman, who's a starter for the Giants. Kevin had just a great career here at LSU, 4th overall pick for the Orioles. And, he was a phenomenal pitcher. But I think from just all the aspects of what Aaron brought, he was just an unbelievable talent here.
We are talking to LSU Tigers pitching coach, Alan Dunn. Alan, there is something going on in the MLB, and it's not good. And Rob Manfred, who I thought was one of the best commissioners in baseball until this past offseason, I look completely differently at him as a commissioner now, as a major league fan, an MLB fan. Your thoughts to the Astros cheating scandal, and do you think they should have been slapped a little bit harder than what they got?
Again, man, I really don't know all the ins and outs about it. Okay. We had one of our players that was such a tremendous player for us, Alex Bregman, who played here at LSU and had a phenomenal career and went into the Astros. And it was just an unfortunate situation to see how all this went down. And I think some of those, players have just things that I've read have come out and made some statements about how they wish that things had not gone that way. I think it obviously was a bad deal for baseball, and I'm hoping that we can turn the page, and that I think the things have been put into place that will definitely help, if not curtail this from happening again. I think people paid some very, very big prices for this, and hopefully the message has been sent, and I think it has. And I hope we can just turn the page and go forward and not let this be a black eye anymore for baseball. Because, it's obviously I think one of the greatest game, and it's a bad situation. So hopefully it will be curtailed and we can go on, man.
With all the scandals that occur in college sports as it is, not to mention a lot of different teams, could you see that kind of thing, filming to steal signs, using buzzers, cheating like that, like the way the Astros did and the Red Sox did? Can you see that kind of thing happening in college baseball?
No, I don't. And I know this has been talked about in the game, forever about people trying to get an advantage by getting signs and paying attention, and we all know that's part of the game. It has been part of the game, doing it what's so called the right way. And do I think that would be something would happen in college? Yes. I mean, whether it's a guy tipping his pitches out of his glove, or a catcher, setting up too early, or an infielder moving, or, things like that that's been around the game. But yes, college baseball, we have we have video. The system that we have, in college baseball is just like the big leagues in terms of us being able to video our games and get scouting reports and watch tendencies. And but a lot of work has to be done to go in and get that. And you're looking for advantages, but I don't see, that it would be something that would not be credible in the game, especially at the college level.
We are talking to LSU pitching coach Alan Dunn. Alan, before we let you go, I have a question. My last question for you is there a particular player that you're looking forward to coaching this year that you think could be the next big superstar going into the majors?
You know what? We have a couple of players on our team right now. And I'll just talk, from the pitching side. We've got the draft coming up, and obviously we've got some players that are eligible for the draft, and don't know how it's going to go with the new rules of only being a 5-round draft, and so we're really not sure who we're going to lose, in the draft, whether it be players on our current team or players that are going to be coming in. We have 17 new players coming in from the high school, coming into our program, and some of those kids are very talented, and their name may be called in the next week or so. But, currently we have a pitcher on our staff, Cole Henry, who is a sophomore eligible draftee, and going into the season, he was highly touted on the prospect watch list. And, I think he's a guy that you want to, pay attention to, should his name be called, this season. And should he not, come back to us, and he's a guy that might go into professional baseball. And again, I don't know how that's going to go with the draft, but he's a young man. I think his ceiling is just so high as a pitcher. We have another young man who he'll be back with us next year, named Jaden Hill, right-handed pitcher that is his future is again very, very high. He's such an athletic kid, 4-star quarterback in high school. Just as I talked about athleticism, stuff-wise, he has a chance to have 3 or 4 plus pitches across the board, makeup, strike throw, all the things that we love as coaches to have. And I think that should he stay healthy and be able to take the ball week in and week out, I think he's just going to have a phenomenal opportunity at the next level. So those are just 2 young men that I think if you look at where their future might lie, they have a chance to be to be big leaguers, in my opinion. And then we have an outfielder who's the same way, Daniel Cabrera, who is draft eligible this year. Don't know where he's going to go, but he's a guy that can really swing the bat. So, we're waiting on that to see how it's going to affect our program, and then with our new players coming in, how we're going to manage our roster and get everything straight with that. So, it's going to be an exciting time, in college baseball, I think, across the country. With there's going to be some really good teams, because there's going to be a lot of players that were projected to be drafted that I don't think they will. So it's going to be, college baseball is going to be at an all-time high with skill level next year. And so if it was going to be any harder, with being in the SEC, I think it's going to be next year. So we're looking forward to just get going, playing some baseball, and hopefully, getting back to doing what we all love. And that's kind of what we're focusing our attention on.